London's West End, and as the cast of To Kill a Mockingbird prepare for another performance, a group of enthusiastic students from Capital City Academy in Willesden enter the Gielgud for a rare night out at the theatre.
I've never seen a West End show before, so it's kind of exciting.
I think it's important for people my age especially to go to the theatre because you can actually see and experience more than watching the movie.
Aaron Sorkin's adaptation of the iconic Harper Lee novel has stirred audiences on Broadway and in London. But how would the play resonate with this group of young people who have scarce knowledge of the book and its legendary characters?
I thought it was very powerful. At first, I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was going to be very boring. But when I went inside, I was actually blown away. It was actually a really good show.
Just here seeing it in person, it's like so different from like reading the book or watching the movie.
One night, the Capital City Academy students enjoy the thrill of live theatre. The following day, they have their own dramatic moment when the multi-award-winning playwright, screenwriter and film director Aaron Sorkin pays them a visit at their North West London school.
In the US, almost every student reads this book in what we call 8th grade, 9th grade, when you're 13, 14 years old. Almost everyone has seen the movie. The film is considered a classic. The book holds an almost sacred place on America's bookshelf. Interestingly, the author, Harper Lee, Nell Harper Lee, was her first name. To Kill a Mockingbird was her first and only novel. She never wrote anything again after that. She kind of spent the rest of her life almost in hiding, living in the same small town in which she was born, the small town Monroeville, that serves as the inspiration for the fictional Macomb County that you saw in the play. So it was, I think about 5 years ago, a Broadway producer with whom I'd worked a number of times called me to say, I have something very exciting to talk to you about. After several years of trying, I have secured the Broadway stage rights to Kill a Mockingbird. I've been very lucky in my career in that I get to write movies, I get to write television, and I get to write plays. And while I love working in movies and working in television, my favorite is the theater. The things that can happen in a theater, the fact that there's a live audience there. You know, I said to the cast before last night's dress rehearsal, you're about to meet, for the first time, your final collaborator, the audience.
Because it's theatre, I guess it gives you a bit more artistic license as well. I loved what you said about the process when you were writing, that you almost put yourself in the into each character's shoe. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Sure. Let me address what you said at the beginning of that sentence about the theater as opposed to movies. One of the reasons why I like the theater is you don't have to be literal. We had 2 actors and an actress in their 20s and 30s playing Scout, Jem, and Dill. You couldn't do that in a movie. If you see the movie, you'll see that Scout is a much, much smaller part and is played by a 9-year-old actress. Same with the boys. So you don't have to be literal in the theater, but in terms of trying to inhabit each character as I write it, that's something I do with everything. I'm very physical when I'm writing something. I'm talking out loud. I am playing each of the parts as they come up. I'm jumping up and down from my desk and walking around. But all of that, I'm describing a good day. I'm describing a great day. For me, the hardest part about writing are the days when you don't write, and those are most days.
Writing like himself has made Aaron Sorkin one of the most celebrated contemporary writers of stage and screen. This was an opportunity for these teenagers to discover more about his craft and career.
What inspired you to become a playwright?
What inspired me to become a playwright? My parents started taking me to see plays starting from when I was very little. We lived very close to New York City. So they took me to see Broadway plays. Some of them, oftentimes, for some reason, they would take me to see plays that I was too young to understand what was going on. But I loved the sound of dialogue. It sounded like music to me. Well-written dialogue being performed by great actors. So growing up, I went to plays a lot. I fell in love with the theater. Theaters felt like churches to me. There was no such thing as a bad play. And like I said, I loved the sound of dialogue, and I wanted to try to imitate that sound. And that's how I got into it. Even, you know, when I write a movie, there isn't as, you won't find many explosions or car chases in those movies. What you'll find are people talking, and hopefully the dialogue is enough to keep your attention. Like
what I wanted to ask is, how do you create these realistic characters, and how do you make them feel like real people?
That's a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question, and it's difficult to do. It takes practice. Writing a play, a movie, an episode of television, it's like playing the violin. It takes a lot of practice before you can get good at it. But I'll say this: when I'm writing a character who is a quote-unquote bad guy, okay, or antagonist instead of protagonist, I try to write that character as if they're making their case to God why they should be allowed into heaven, okay? I don't, as the writer, I can't judge the character. Even a character like Bob Ewell, okay, who has no redeeming qualities at all. I try not to judge the character. I try to find something that I would be able to relate to, and then go for it. But I loved what you said about some characters not being black and white, about it, that there being a gray thing. For instance, Mayella. She's doing something horrible, right? She is accusing a man of a capital crime. That means if he's found guilty, he'll be executed. She is lying. She's making up a story. But the problem is she's a victim too.
This was clearly a much valued experience. Capital City Academy were in awe of every anecdote, advice, personal memory and opinion shared with them by their celebrity guests.
You know what I hope? I hope that 20 years from now, somebody else writes To Kill a Mockingbird, this time from the point of view of Tom Robinson, okay? Let's go into his house. Let his kids be the kids in the story. Let Atticus be a supporting character. And then 20 years after that, I'd like somebody to write the story all over again from the point of view of Mayella Ewell.
An excursion to experience live theatre proved a testament to the power of the arts, not only to entertain, but inspire audiences to question and contemplate their own lives and society in general. And a visit by a celebrity to their own place of work left these young Londoners with words of wisdom, magic memories, and fueled ambitions.